Brilliant performance by Joe Root.
Cheers.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, cheers. I've picked my glass for the occasion. Cheers, everybody.
I thought you would.
Yeah. Kieran hasn't got a drink.
I'm not going to. Unfortunately, I don't drink. I'm on coffee. He's tried a lot. Sachin is getting quite a big drinker now, I think, can't you, Sachin?
You say that like it's a good thing.
Mr. Hoggard.
Hoggy.
Come on.
Cheers,
Welcome. This is a great pleasure to have Mr. Hoggard. Good evening, Jamie. One rule before you start: no rugby, only samosas from your end.
That's all I know anyway, so that's fine. Good to see you all.
But welcome. And let me just introduce everyone to the panel. So first of all, welcome to our voice of cricket, Mr. Mathew Hoggard. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
You say voice of cricket. I know Jack Crap.
Oh, come on. And Mr. Hoggard qualifies on two accounts. One, he's a cricket legend. And number two, he's a samosa lover as well. So we'd have to start.
Yeah, I love the samosas, but I think you read the L word wrong.
Go on,
I think it's pronounced leg end.
Leg end. Yes, but forget about that. What kind of samosas? What's your preference now? I'm putting this
in that order. Lamb, chicken, veg.
What?
Yeah.
Lamb, chicken, veg, all three. Unfortunately,
that's the order that you eat them in. Have to be spicy though. Do I have to order the extra spicy ones to get a little bit of heat?
Have they got enough heat in the samosa?
No.
Not enough heat.
Not enough heat.
Not enough chili kick.
Let me introduce you to the panel. Starting off with Sachin Turakia, my favorite son, who you know well. Who you were
favorite? You just put that on record.
Yeah.
I heard it. Favorite or favourite?
Yeah, you just put the favourites on record.
My eldest favorite son, should I say? Not favorite son, just eldest. Anyway, Sachin James Turakia here. Next one is Steve Oldfield. I think you might have met him, Mr. Hoggard, because he came down to play the seven-a-side in Ashby.
That's right. And in fact, you also persuaded me to bid for his
look at that,
for one of his jerseys. So here I am.
So he's wearing the jersey. That's right.
I think I feel it a bit better actually.
That's right, the 602.
It's all them samosas I've been eating.
I had to see it tonight actually.
And then we've got now you're all going to have to pronounce this Dr. Vass's name properly. That will come at the end of this discussion.
Say Vass.
Dr. Subramaniam Vasantham. We're not having any excuses here, Vass.
Not as difficult as Muttaya Muralidharan. Come on.
No, we're going to do Muttaya Muralidharan. We'll do that at the end. We'll do that on the end. And then we've got Jamie here, who wasn't here last week either. So welcome, Jamie.
I feel that's understated.
Jamie. Welcome, Jamie.
I feel like
I can't
They are
hear
too good. Chicken lamb veg.
Yeah.
Chicken lamb veg in that yes.
Yeah. Chicken's my favorite.
Excellent. And you got samosa-wallah t-shirt on from Sachin?
Yeah, sponsored. Ate the samosa, got the t-shirt.
I think our t-shirts must have got lost in the post there, Steve.
Yeah. I'm a shareholder. I don't even get a t-shirt.
I don't think they've got enough material to make my t-shirt.
Just to throw it out there, I paid for my own. These weren't gifts from the samosa-wallah. These were purchased merchandise.
So come on, let me start with Mr. Hoggard. He's a food specialist. And I'd like you just to tell us a little bit about your new venture, Mr.
My new venture opened up Hoggy's Grill up at Rutland Water Garden Nurseries. Or should I say I've tried to open up Hoggy's Grill, but I've got into building.
Where is it?
And what we do is we teach people how to barbecue correctly and how to get their best out of their grills and give people the experience to cook on wood, cook on coal, cook on gas, smoking, hot smoking, cold smoking, and just tell people that you can cook anything on a grill that you can in the kitchen. And we have lots of great food, lots of nice wine, and we learn a little bit and eat a lot along the way.
Where's this?
It's up at Rutland Water, so we're in near Oakham.
So
All right. Has Jonathan Agnew been to see you?
He hasn't been to the grill yet, but he's bought. Well,
He's bought a fancy grill.
He's got 2 grills off me so far, and he's come round to our house, and we've done lots of different things at the house rather up with the grill because he's only 10 minutes away.
Okay.
So
Are you a traditional coal barbecue or gas?
Yeah, gas is great for the convenience if you are just wanting to cook outside very quickly, but I'm a massive advocate of charcoal and wood. And I think you need to use your fuel as an extra ingredient. So you can tell whether you're cooking on apple wood, cherry wood, even the coals that you use. Has to be good lump wood charcoal, none of this crap that you buy from the petrol station that's infused with all the chemicals and that gets into your food. So natural, ethically sourced, nice lump wood charcoal is my go-to every time.
Have you had corn on the cob on charcoal coals with the masala in India?
Plenty. Not in India, but I've had corn on the cob on charcoal coals plenty of times. But yeah, normally served with a steak, but we won't say steak because we're Indian. Normally served with nice roast chicken.
Well, India, in the street, they've got loads of people do that. Did the charcoal on the beach. And they do they do charcoal corn on the cob, and they put salt, paprika, lots of masala chili, and lemon juice.
And the best thing about what I found about India is everybody's always scared about getting ill and having the deli belly, and they all stick to the hotels and they try and eat the chicken Kievs and the English food they're used to. Nobody knows how to cook that over in India. So and it's not turned around very often. So you get the old out on the streets and you go to the people that are always turning over, and the fresh food, you get amazing flavors, you get amazing food, and you always get fresh food because it's turned over so quickly.
So let me ask you, when you were playing cricket, did you do that?
I did, yes.
Well, you just ate on the street food?
We weren't allowed to, though. It was in in your contract. You're not allowed to eat shellfish the night before a test match or night before a game. You're not allowed to do anything. Well, if you read the small print,
you ever suffer from deli belly while on tour?
Yeah, everybody did. And I can remember what year it was, but I woke up on the bathroom floor. I'd only been there a couple of days, and I got hit with a bug, and it was coming out of both ends. I collapsed on the bathroom floor, and I woke up. Didn't have a clue where I was. I woke up, sat on the bath, and went, right, where am I? Yeah. This isn't my bathroom. I'm in a hotel. It's got something to do with cricket. It looks like an Asian bathroom. And it took me about 5 minutes to realise where I was. And to realise I was on a cricket tour in India. And I opened up I got dressed, had a shower first, got dressed, thought I need to go find the team doctor, and opened up the door, and Michael Vaughan was walking past the hotel room and said, "Vaughan, you need to go get the doc." I'm not in a good way. But it lasted 2 or 3 days, and then I was good for the rest of the tour. So catch it early, immune.
Cricket club pre-match as well, actually. No seafood. No alcohol.
No alcohol.
Early nights. All religiously followed by the boys.
If you're not in bed by 3 o'clock, go on.
Oh, God, so you're about to get a delivery, and I feel very guilty, as you know, that I'm enjoying the luxury of home while you're ploughing into the Oval and very limited refreshments, shall we say. Yeah. There's a complete lunatic who lives near me who trains on the name of samosa-wallah. His name's actually Kiran Turakia, and he works out of Melton Mowbray. He's got a banged out old tuk-tuk that you hear screaming up the hill out of Melton, and he delivers samosas. Yeah. Now, he's not driving in his tuk-tuk down the M1 to come and deliver samosas to you, but he's organised a delivery. So, the addicts do this. There will be some lovely samosas, courtesy of Melton Mowbray, on their way down to you any moment. Well, they'll get us into the swing. If he is in his tuk-tuk going down the M1, it'll be quite a sight. But he normally squeezes about 4 miles out of it before it blows up.
How did you get into this cooking grills? I mean,
yeah, good question.
Did you grow up in South Africa or something?
Basically. When I was 17, I went over to South Africa to play club cricket.
There you are.
And I went there for 4 years on the trot. I played 2 years up in Johannesburg for a club side. And then I played 2 years for the Free State. And the old Braai, they call it Braai, Braai place. They've got the weather, they've got the meat, they've got the real wood. So they cook on things called Camille and Mopani. So camel thorn and blackthorn bushes that you burn down and you get really hot coals from them that last really a long time. So not only do you get the amazing flavors from the wood, it lasts long, not like the softwood that just burns out. It really lasts a long time. It's so dense, it's really heavy. But yeah, sitting outside, listening to the crickets and everything else of the nightlife in South Africa, drinking a cold castle and just eating amazing food. I got the bug. And that was 26 years ago. I've been grilling ever since.
And when you were bowling, when you were bowling at your prime, you were still a big. You ate a lot. You still.
Oh, massively, yeah. I still eat a lot. That's why I'm so fat. When I was playing, at least I burnt it off.
Just burnt it.
Nowadays, I still eat the same amount, but then just sit down and watch people run around rather than run around myself.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Anyway, listen, we're all really looking forward to coming to Hoggy's Grill in Rutland. We're really looking forward to as soon as the dates open and we get a calendar, we'll all be there. We'll also get Dr. Subhash Khanna, who was meant to be on this panel. Jamie, I'll send you an invite.
Hot off the press, Kieran. Sarah will send you the vouchers tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. So they were a bit confused about the vouchers. That Steve was thinking he had to buy some marinade because he didn't read the information properly. But anyway, that's classic Steve. He misses a lot of the detail. But anyway,
I think I was still in shock by saying it was a vegetarian barbecue. So all the rest just sort of was a blur.
It won't be vegetarian because I'm not eating that shit. I mean, vegetarian arm.
So let's move on to the first test, guys. I mean, the cricket has been absolutely amazing. I'm going to start with Sachin because we had a little chat before a preview, and there was some sort of big predictions made, but particularly by Dr. Vasantham Subramaniam, and I'm sure Sachin is absolutely busting a gut to put him right where he got them wrong.
I feel like I don't need to do any putting right. I feel like Dr. Vasantham needs to explain himself.
Okay, so I mean, going by what I saw in Australia, I mean, the Indian B team thrashed Australians, and so extrapolating that to home conditions, with Kohli back in form, you thought they will do better. But I think the good things were, the amazing things were Anderson's bowling and Root's batting, and the two spectacular catches. I've not seen, recently catches like that. Maybe Paul Collingwood could sort of do something similar, but those two catches were amazing. And lastly, I thought the umpiring was excellent.
It was.
Yeah, those were the good things. The bad things were everything Indian was bad. I mean, their fielding was bad, their bowling was bad.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
What? Except Ravichandran Ashwin, those two bowlers, I mean, they played 2 test matches between them before. I mean, why did they select them? God.
So again, let's not beat about those. Why did England win? Big first innings runs, and the big first innings runs come from who? Joe Root. England won in Sri Lanka. Why did England win in Sri Lanka? Big first innings runs.
Yeah.
Who scored the first innings runs? Joe Root.
Yeah.
You take Joe Root out of the equation and the runs that he scored out of the equation, the series are different ball games. But Joe Root has been in fantastic form. You get 500 on the first innings. You're not only are you tired because you've been in the field for 2 and a bit days. You're on the hiding to nothing, the sports scoreboard pressure and everything else. And you've just said the fact that Kohli comes back as captain. I think that sometimes it's harder when you've got your star player coming back. And I think that he's a very dictatorial captain. He's a little bit like Nasser Hussain. that if you do something wrong, he'll kick the dirt, and he doesn't like it, and he's very quick to criticise and say, do you know what, you lot need to be as good as me, and that is not possible. Whereas when you've got Rouhani as the captain, he's very positive, very blow smoke up your ass, making sure that you perform. And we saw when, go back to my era, we had Nasser Hussain, who was in charge of the same lot. Michael Vaughan comes in, and he is a completely different character. England start to perform. Nasser had done all the hard work and got all the discipline. Michael Vaughan then blew smoke up everybody's ass to make them perform like he wanted to do. And I just think that Virat is a fantastic player, world-class player, would walk into any team in the world, but I think the players underneath him are scared of making mistakes and are scared of not performing. And when you've got that environment, when you're scared to make a mistake, it becomes very difficult to perform at your best of your ability.
What do you think, Jamie, to that?
Yeah, it's interesting. You say that there was sort of like a double effect of say Nasser Hussain and Michael Vaughan. Do you not see that under Rouhani and Kohli in the England team, or do you think Kohli's maybe got the advantage in terms of maybe too much one way, if that makes sense?
Yeah, and so I got told that I can't remember who I was speaking to, and that Virat Kohli, fantastic sportsmanship by stretching Joe Root's hamstring. Now that's not exactly I know
the wrong
Virat
way
Kohli
though. It was doing it the wrong way.
He's got an edge. He wants to rile the opposition up. He has been guilty in the past of taking it a little bit like Australia too far, and I don't think that Virat at the moment is under scrutiny. That's for sure, and you cannot go past his ability as a cricket player. But as you said, to win away in Australia is very hard. And we've all got very short-term memories when it comes to sport, and you're only as good as your last game. India were cock-a-hoots going to Australia and coming away with a victory with the B-side, without the Ashwin, without Kohli, without their star players. They come back to India. Was it complacency? Do you know what? We're on home soil. We're going to be playing on turning wickets. We know these wickets inside out. England haven't got the spinners to trouble us. They're seeing us are not going to do anything on flat wickets. We're going to score millions of runs, and then we're going to bowl England out very cheaply. But then they didn't factor in the Joe Root scenario.
Steve, what do you think about that?
I think the other thing is the toss was vital, wasn't it? I mean, it was a great toss to win.
Yeah.
And England we got a little bit lucky, didn't we, in the first innings bowling too. I mean, Best didn't bowl that well.
No.
And some of the wickets were lucky. England got a little bit. I know we played great.
You made your
but
I
things
just
went
feel
our way.
it's very
but again,
to say we got lucky after performing that well. Like one player didn't have a good game. Don Best, I'll say it up front, didn't have a great game. But if one player didn't have a good game, and there's very little other flaws I can find with that first innings performance, they were so confident in the field. The fielding was outstanding. James Anderson,
the fielding was outstanding, but I don't think Best deserved the figures he got.
No, and I'd agree with that. But
the same in Sri Lanka as well.
I think Anderson got them out of a bit of a hole, really.
Yeah.
But that was second innings.
In second innings.
If you go back to Sri Lanka won the toss on perfect batting conditions and then batted like a set of school kids.
Yeah.
And gave the advantage back to England.
Sure.
So we won the toss, job done. Now you still have to put a first innings score on the scorecard.
Sure.
And who do you look to do that? Well, you want to start off well. We've got Burns and we've got Sibley. And then we've got Joe Root, who came in and played sensationally well. I mean, to score 200 again is unbelievable in the first innings. Second innings doesn't count. First innings is where you make your bread and set up the game.
Joe Root was absolutely extraordinary, and all of India are applauding Joe Root. Let me ask you, Vas, you were picking up on that point, only Joe Root. Vas said very strongly, Sibley can't play spin, is a waste of space. What is your view on that? Because what's your view on Sibley now, Vas?
What happened in the second innings?
Just to quote Mathew Hoggard, literally 30 seconds earlier, doesn't matter what happened in the second innings. Dug yourself a little hole there, Dr. Vasantham.
He played spin quite well.
Well,
he stuck around. He played an opening innings. It was, he started it off, didn't he? He was difficult to get out.
Well, I mean, the comparison on one side, you got Joe Root batting. I mean, I don't think anybody, apart from Graham Thorpe a few years ago, plays so well on the back foot. I mean, this guy, when you go on the back foot, especially on a slow wicket, sort of, it's very difficult to get you out, really, isn't it? Sort of by a spinner. Sort of, he played most of the shots, and then he kept sweeping. If they sort of, if they pitched it short, he swept both sides. Reverse sweep as well as, and there was not a single false shot. They were expecting him to top edge and things like that, and nothing happened. But so the contrast on the other side was quite stunning, really. Sort of.
It's as you say. I think the captaincy subject is worth discussing, and you could discuss that for a long time. But because we've got Hoggy here, I looked up the stat of Anderson, because obviously everyone is talking about Jimmy Anderson being the best bowler in the world, etc. And I actually didn't know this. I couldn't remember, having watched cricket all my life. I must have watched the game in Nagpur. I forgot all about it, right? But actually, I've compared the stats here, and Mathew Hoggard, 30.5 overs, 13 maidens. This is first innings. 57 runs, 6 wickets, an average of 1.25. So I just wanted to ask Hoggy, Hoggy on that track, what he reverse swing, how he got the likes of Jaffer, Sehwag, wasn't it? There was Vivius Laxman in there. There was Irfan Pathan in there. The only one who wasn't in there was Tendulkar, I think. All of them back in the hut.
Dravid.
Did I get Dravid? I don't think Dravid was it?
Dravid, you got Dravid as well. Dravid is also on that list.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, again, so every dog has his day, don't they? But again, the formula for winning in India is simple. Big first innings runs, get a lead on first innings. On a deteriorating pitch, you then reap your rewards. And yes, reverse swing came into play that innings, but going back to first innings, this game, everything is super simple after you've scored 500 plus in your first innings. You can't lose. Simple as that.
I always say that at Prestbury as well. If we get 500 in the first innings, we won't lose, boys.
You score 500 runs in your first innings, you can't lose.
That's about a season. That's about a season for our team.
But let me ask you, is there a secret? Let me ask you, Matthew, is there a secret on getting the ball to reverse swing like that? How do you get, did the English play the ball better?
To get a reverse swing, you need to keep your greasy palms and sweaty palms off the dry side, keep the other side smooth, and it does it naturally. And it's no secret. Everybody in the world knows how to do it nowadays. And the longer the game goes on, the easier it is to get it to reverse swing, because you get the rough side and you get the spinners bowling, and then get the seam roughed up and the sides smashed to pieces. So it's a lot easier to do it in subcontinental conditions. And as I say, reverse swing played a massive part in the second innings. But let's not go back to the first, where Jofra Archer bowled superb spell, got quick early wickets, and he could have got a lot more wickets than he did. He bowled superbly. But again, that is so much easier bowling without fear, I went for a 4. Doesn't matter. We've got 500 runs on the board. Doesn't matter if I go for a 4. Doesn't affect this game whatsoever. So the pressure is off. Doesn't matter. So you can go out and keep on bowling the magic balls, keep on running in, and don't be scared of going for runs. So go back to why England won. Joe Root scoring 200 in the first innings.
Okay, there's loads to talk about. We've talked about for hours, but come on, let's have a prediction of what's going to happen in the second test. Well, who's the one to watch out? What's going to happen?
Well, I predicted a 4-0 win for India.
Yeah, so you and Vass. Actually, Vass and you were exactly the same. 4-0.
No, I said 3-0. I said 3.
A 3-0, sorry, but you said man of the match was the same, wasn't it? Ashwin.
Ashwin.
Yeah. So
And again, going to India, and you know how difficult it is to win in India. Very few teams go to India and get a result. Yes, we played fantastically well in the first Test match. I'm typically English. I'm very pessimistic, and I love being proved wrong. But in the second Test, you get Joe Root out early. It puts shockwaves and tremors through the England's batting lineup because, yes, Ben Stokes came in and played fantastically well on his first Test or his first innings back from a long layoff. He played really well, but again, he chanced his arm, a little like Pant. He knew there was a ball with his name on it. If he gets the ball with his name on it straight up, you then sort of like lose Root and Stokes, and now you're looking at where our run's coming from. Butler's gone home, so you've then got Folks coming in. So there's a lot of pressure on Joe Root to score runs because if you look in Sri Lanka, Joe Root scored all the runs. The first Test in India, Joe Root scored the majority of the runs. So Joe Root has been the difference between Sri Lanka and India in the first Test. That's a lot of pressure and a lot of mojo to go into the second Test in India and say, right, Joe, you need to score the runs. Because if Joe doesn't, who is?
Come on then, Sachin, if Joe doesn't score the runs.
I think what we saw was Joe Root was the key factor in the runs in the first innings, but he got 200 of 580. So there's a lot of other runs that have been scored. And the innings that Stokes plays, he said he knew he had a ball with his name on it. He played that way because he knew he had a man who's over 100 at the other end. He could play with some freedom, and that's the perfect position for that English batting lineup with Stokes at 5 and Butler coming in at 6. That you can, Ollie Pope at 6, Butler at 7. They can come and play with freedom. And Dom Sibley's ground out another 80. That is the kind of players that you want in the bit part roles will step up in to fill the shoes. That's cricket is never. I've never seen a whole series where one person has scored all the runs. Right, the team and the ethos in there will not be feeling over reliant on Joe Root. What I think was the difference in this Test match was not necessarily Joe Root's runs. It was Joe Root's man management and captaincy, where every player in that team felt that they had something to offer. So part of the reason that he kept the declaration late was because he said, you know what, guys, I'm going to keep the overs lower so they don't have a chance of winning. And then I know that my spinners can bowl under those conditions and win the game. And it's that ethos of backing your players is why they're better. And I think that also feeds into the batsmen, that they will all feel that there is faith in them to score the runs. I can see you've got a comment, but go for it.
Did he delay the declaration because he had faith in his spinners, or did he delay the declaration because he feared his spinners? Cannot know if the pressure comes back on them, because if you look how they bowl, they bowled magic balls within their. They weren't that consistent, is what I said. There's full tosses, there was short half trackers, but because we had that many rules to play around with, it didn't matter. We had people around the bat, so when they did play the magic ball, they had the fielders there. If, on the other hand, there is no runs to play with, is he confident in his spinners?
I think in the reason he declared it is to give them their ideal scenario, and they knew that. Confidence is saying, I know I'm going to shorten your time, but I know you're going to still bowl me those magic balls. It's the same thing we're saying, but it's not born out of fear. It's born out of, I know you've got those 5-6 magic balls in you guys.
I think you're completely
in a short amount of time when the whole world is.
I think you're the wrong way. He feels that they only have a certain amount of magic balls, and the rest of them can go around the park. Now, if you're only chasing, or if you're chasing 200, and you've got 2 spinners that are going at 5s, and only bowl a magic ball every 5 overs, you won't have the people around the bat. If they're going at 5s, they'll be out on the boundary. So there's a different mentality with bowling with lots of runs to play with, and there's a different mentality with a few runs to play with. And Jack Leach doesn't have the control that you want from his finger spinning. Neither does Dom Bess. He doesn't have the control, and that is and they don't have mystery balls. They don't have the Karen ball, like Ashwin does. They don't have a googly like Rashid does. They are normal finger spinners. And if the pitch doesn't deteriorate to the fact that it turns and bounces, they're on flat tracks. I think they could go around the park. I think that you can't say, right, then we'll put on our spinners to tie up one end and say, right, then I want you to go at twos while we rotate the seamers from the other end, especially if it is a first innings. Let's go on a first innings day. If it isn't reversing because the ball isn't scuffed up, it's not doing anything. It's slow. It's true. And you can't tie an end up with a spinner. Where are you going?
Just to look at the numbers from the last test, obviously the spinners were going for a lot of runs, but our seamers aren't getting hit around the park. So if Anderson's going at under twos, if Ben Stokes is going under twos, if Joffre's going at 1.5s, why is there a reliance? I agree that our spinners aren't up to the job of tying an end up.
Hang on a minute, Steve. What do you want to say then? Come on.
Well, first of all, I'd take Sachin up on that assertion that he doesn't know series where one batsman's got the bulk of the runs. I think there've been a lot of series like that over the years. I mean, you think of Cookie in Australia. I think Varney did it in Australia. I think Cook did it in India.
Sorry, just jumping in that Cookie series.
I think England are pretty dependent on Rooty. You know, the openers you can't rely on. They're very quirky in their style, which upset. I don't know. You lose a bit of confidence just because of the
Steve Smith's very quirky.
He is. That's true. And true. I'm not saying that's a reason not to put them in the team, but I don't have confidence in them.
That's a different reason completely.
Yeah, I think they are heavily dependent on Root. I think the spinners, I thought Bess was inferior to Leach. I thought Leach bowled better over the course of the match than
definitely.
Steve, I don't want to
Bess was quite poor.
We've only got 1 minute left now for this call.
Okay, and absolutely, that declaration was declared because of a lack of confidence in those spinners.
So
there was no declaration. They were all out.
So let me just have a quick roundup. Jamie, what's going to happen next test? Quickly go through before we get cut off.
England win.
Vas?
I think India will win next one.
Steve?
Whoever wins the toss will win.
Sitting on the fence,
The
Sachin?
bloody Englishman.
Well, that's what I think.
England will win it again. I love momentum.
I think Steve's quite astute there. Whoever scores the most runs in the first innings wins.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mathew Hoggard, Dr. Subramaniam Vasanta, Mr. Steve Oldfield, Mr. Sachin Turaki, and Mr. Jamie. I've forgotten his surname. Have a good day and howzamosa!